Hello and welcome! My name's Heather, I'm a registered professional counselor, and we're gonna watch Love is Blind Season 2.
I grew up always wanting to not follow that pattern for my life.
Has she. Yeah.
I know, and that's one of the things we connected on so early on.
I've got good intuition. Does that mean this is gonna work out? No. Do I hope it will? Yes.
So it seems that Danielle's family is very open. They seem a little bit more warm and welcoming. And it seems like the family is really on board with Nick and Danielle, and they see a lot of similarities between them. And they also seem to have an understanding as to why they got together and why they fell in love. And we see that there's already a difference between how Danielle's mom is reacting compared to Shayna's mom, and that Danielle's mom is saying that she has a good intuition, but she doesn't know if it will work out, but she hopes it will work out, as opposed to saying, oh, it's not going to work out and I don't give her my blessing. So again, just really interesting differences in the family dynamics between the families. That's why I love these episodes, because we start to get a little bit more information about the different cast members here and maybe why they are the way they are. Before I forget, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel for more analysis videos of Love is Blind.
You're going to have to be strong because she tends to jeopardize her relationships. I know you, I know me. You're just like me. I'm just making sure that if things get tough, you'll fight for it.
I get where Danielle's mom is coming from. She just wants to make sure that Nick is in it for the long haul, and she's trying to give him some heads up in terms of some past patterns that she's noticed with Danielle and that she also sees within herself. But it's not really fair to put that all on the partner, because chances are the reason why they're reacting that way is because there's some form of attachment injury or emotional baggage that they need to work through that they've carried on into current relationships. The other possibility is that Danielle has noticed that her mom reacts this way in her fights, therefore she's adopted it in her relationships. We learn a lot from our parents and also how they interact in relationships and how they respond to disagreements or how they make up in fights. We learn a lot from our parents, and I think people don't always realize that, but we do. So that could be a possibility as to why Danielle is so similar to her mom. The other possibility is that Danielle has been through a lot, it sounds like, and she hasn't really fully processed that with a counselor or therapist, because they can definitely help them in finding different strategies or ways of emotionally coping or emotionally regulating when you are feeling triggered, or to help you get less triggered over time. Because it's not really fair to put all that pressure on Nick, because now you're essentially saying, hey, when Danielle gets triggered, because she will get triggered often because she hasn't worked through her attachment injuries or emotional baggage from past relationships, it's your responsibility to stick around and deal with that, and it's your responsibility to walk on eggshells so she doesn't get triggered. That's not really fair. That's a lot of pressure to put on a partner. It also can create feelings of resentment on Nick's end, because he doesn't really know what he's going to say is the right thing or what's the wrong thing, or if Danielle's going to get triggered from one thing or the next. And it's a lot of pressure to put on one partner to essentially have them be either the therapist in the relationship or the emotional punching bag.
It's still very evident right there. It's not even a hickey, it's a bite mark.
Okay, so her family is very sex positive and very open to discussing their intimate and personal lives in a group setting. That's fine. Every family and everyone has different comfort levels with talking about sex, and maybe it's normal for them to be sex positive and to be very open to talk about their sex lives. That's fine. No judgments here.
My family is super welcoming.
Well, I am crazy about you, and I hope it resonates.
I was second guessing how you thought about me because you didn't want to talk about how much my family loved you. You complained about your friends right away, and I was like, okay, so if all he wants to talk about is friends, does he actually like me for the right reasons?
What's going on? So they were having a nice conversation, and now they're starting to get into an argument. So if we really pay attention to what they're saying, Danielle is saying that she felt that he wasn't as happy as she was with how the family dinner went. But it sounds like he's saying that he had other things going on that were outside of meeting her family, and that might be impacting his mood, or maybe that's the reason why he didn't show how happy he was that her family loves him. But let's see how they handle this situation, because it's starting to go off the rails.
There were things that popped up in the day yesterday with my family and with my friends that were hard. That were
The day of meeting my family, where I was like really excited.
We can't control the things that happen in our life. Other things can happen outside of meeting the family. We have a lot of other things going on. We have a lot of different variables in our life that may go wrong. On Nick's end, he said he had issues with his family and friends. I'm not entirely sure what it is. It might have been very emotionally taxing to him, and he's trying his best to suppress it or ignore it so that he can have a good day meeting her family after they left the family dinner. I'm guessing that's when he wanted to share with her what was going on with him. And she took it as a sign of, oh, he doesn't care about the family, which means he doesn't care about me. And I question his intentions now.
I know it was selfish to bring it up when we had just met your family, but it was just on my mind. And I'm very sorry that I ruined what was, I know, a very important day to you and also me, because this matters to me.
It looks like Danielle is already starting to shut down. We see that Nick is trying to smooth things over. He's apologizing. He's trying to take responsibility for ruining the evening. From the way I see it, it doesn't seem like he ruined the evening. He was just trying to express to her what is going on in his life, and she took it so personally. If the initial reason that they keep getting into these fights is because Danielle's getting triggered from her past and other things that she needs to work on individually and internally, then that's something that she'll have to do, not only for herself, because she deserves that, and she deserves to not always have these triggers or to feel insecure or to feel upset, because I would also imagine that is also extremely emotionally taxing on one's self-esteem. She deserves to be able to find peace with that and find ways to cope with it so she doesn't always get triggered and upset.
Because in the moment, I thought that you were being fake.
He can be happy that he met her family and that her family likes him, and also be very upset and dealing with these issues that he has with his family and friends. He can be both. People are complex. We are able to have more than one feeling and things happening in our lives, and we have to figure out how to deal with it and how to handle it. This is an example of that all or nothing thinking, where it's like you're either completely happy and nothing else could be going on because you need to focus on this, and if you do have issues going on, then that means you don't care about me. And that's why what her mom said to Nick about you have to tough it out and Danielle's a handful because of all these other things, but you have to be there and you have to deal with it, and it's not really fair because now it's enabling this type of behavior that can be worked on and can be fixed. This conversation could have been avoided. Now it's the message of, oh, this is normal, you have to deal with it, and if you don't deal with it, then you're a piece of crap for not sticking around, and you're essentially like all the other guys that's left Danielle.
Did you ever think the world doesn't revolve around you?
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh. Probably not the best thing for Nick to say, obviously. He's starting to feel attacked and hurt. That's why he's responding in that manner. I'm not saying that it's justified. He apologized. Then she said that she thought he was being fake, and now he feels attacked, and he doesn't feel that his apology was heard or acknowledged, because he did apologize. If you go back and listen, he genuinely apologized. He took responsibility. He said he didn't want to ruin the night. He said he cares about her. I don't know if they edit it this way, but we see her just kind of not listening and in the blank stare, and now she's just kind of poking back at it instead of actually accepting the apology. She just kept saying, oh, well, this is how I felt. I thought that you were fake, instead of saying, thank you. I'm really glad that you apologized. And I'm also sorry because, I was so preoccupied with you meeting my family, and I was stressed out about how they would like you. And I'm really happy to hear that they've accepted you and that everyone loves you and you all got along. And I'm sorry to hear that you had some other things going on in your life. Do you want to talk about it? I also want to be there for you when you have challenges. But she didn't say any of that. And now he's starting to feel attacked. He's lashing out and saying that the world doesn't revolve around you. I think what he's trying to say is that I have a lot of things going on as well, and I don't feel heard. I don't feel that my feelings are being validated. I feel that I'm not able to talk about what's going on with my family and my friends. I feel that you don't care about what's going on in my life.
The world revolved around me because I was excited about my family, and you wanted to talk about your friends? Okay.
Well, he had
I've dated
issues.
People with narcissistic personalities before.
The way that narcissism is described in social media is not exactly the same way that it would be used in the clinical terms. I'm not going to delve too much into that, but everyone has some traits of narcissistic traits. Narcissism is on a spectrum, and maybe she's had experiences with past boyfriends who are very high on the spectrum. It's not to say that Nick is a narcissist. So again, she's getting triggered. They're both triggering each other. They're both not feeling heard or understood, and it's not going in the right direction. They're essentially attacking each other.
I apologize to you. It was wrong that I let that bubble up and ruin that moment on the way home yesterday. And I own that, and I'm sorry that I did that.
I was happy for one fucking day. One day.
We see another repair attempt on Nick's end. He's trying to apologize again. And again, Danielle is not listening. She is in a heightened physiological state. I imagine her heart rate is going up, her breathing's getting shallow. She's preparing to essentially fight or flight, and she's fighting again. In my opinion, Nick is doing his best to apologize and smooth things over. This is the second time he's tried to apologize and to repair the conversation. And I also saw this last time when they got into an argument as well. Nick was trying his best to smooth things over, and Danielle just completely isn't listening. She's completely triggered. She's just hanging on to that one thing he said, which is that the world doesn't revolve around you. He said that because he felt attacked. Again, not to say that it was okay for him to say that, but just so we have some form of understanding of why he said that. She's not even listening to him. She doesn't care for his apologies. She's trying to prove that she's right and that he's wrong. And when we get to that point in an argument, essentially, that's not a good place to be. It's probably best for them to spend some time to cool off and then readdress this later on.
If that's how you feel about me, then...
Okay. I had things going on yesterday outside of your meeting your family, okay?
Sorry, but like the way that you're talking to me right now, I can't.
This is so hard to watch because in my mind, I'm like, this can be fixed. This doesn't have to happen. This could have been avoided for him to start to raise his voice or get frustrated. Again, a very normal bodily physiological response. She discounts all the other times that he tried to apologize to her and explain calmly to her that he was sorry. She's just trying to find more evidence to feed into those beliefs or into those attachment injuries. And this is essentially your fault. I don't like the way that you're talking to me. It's messed up. And I'm not saying this to try to attack Danielle or mock her in any way. This type of reaction in fights I see all the time in counseling sessions and also just in reality TV and in real life. It does happen when couples start to trigger each other and things escalate very quickly and they're not listening to each other. This, again, is a great example of why we need to go to counseling and work on our own stuff before we get into a relationship. If we have problems from our ex, if we are still feeling hurt from that, if we're not fully healed from that, or if we feel that there was some form of trauma from our past relationships, you will inevitably bring it into your future relationship. It doesn't matter how perfect your partner is. It could be like the Chris Evans of guys. If you have issues from your past relationship, you will bring it into this relationship and it will taint this relationship. And being in a new relationship with a perfect partner isn't going to fix the past. It's not going to fix the problems that you have internally that needs to be healed. And this is why I specialize in breakups, is so that my clients can avoid this in their future relationships with the perfect partner. And they could avoid these types of fights and this type of bickering because they've gained that self-awareness and that emotional regularity and that ability to check in with themselves and not take every little thing personally or get triggered by every little thing. And they can actually enjoy the relationship and be able to grow together and stronger with their partner. And now he's feeling frustrated because he doesn't know what to do. He's already apologized. So nothing got resolved. Maybe they just need some time to think about it. But I can imagine that Nick is feeling probably really lost and very alone because, again, on top of dealing with whatever issues he's got with his family and friends, now he has to deal with this. And he probably doesn't really know how to handle these situations, especially if he's tried apologizing twice and taking responsibility for what happened twice. I would imagine that there's going to be a lot of similar arguments like this in the future.
And things escalated a bit.
Yeah.
But you said I was a narcissist.
But you said the world revolved around me.
It bubbled up.
But how can I not act like the world revolves around me, or when that's the most important thing in our relationship was you meeting my family, and you knew that from like when we were in the past. Like that's why I interpret it as you not caring.
It seems like they're kind of going in the right direction. Danielle said they both said things that they might have regretted. Nick is saying that this is why it's important for us to take some time to think about what they actually want to say to each other and not have it just escalate, because it completely did derail. But we already see Danielle going into this with her all or nothing thinking already, which is that I told you how important it was to meet my family, and because you said this, it seems like you didn't care and you knew that this was important to me and important in the relationship. You have to be flexible.
That is important to me. It was important to me. And I'm sorry that in that moment, I let something else interrupt my focus and my train of thought.
Okay, so he's apologizing again, and we'll just see how it lands with Danielle. I hope Danielle is also able to reflect and apologize for her part in the argument and is able to take responsibility and ownership for that.
The way that we're communicating with each other kind of is causing arguments. And that's scary. And if we can't kind of fix this simple communication error, like between us.
It's not so much a communication error. Of course, communication can always be improved on, yes. The real issue is that you have past emotional baggage, attachment injuries, maybe some trauma that hasn't been fully healed, and you are dragging it into this relationship. Even if you were to improve your communication styles with Nick, if you don't work on those issues, you're going to keep getting triggered. And even though you might have improved communication styles, you'll still have that trigger. A good thing about these reality TV shows, if they're not scripted, but sometimes they can be scripted, you could go back and think like, oh wow, I can't believe I was saying this stuff and like this is what was going on for me in the moment, and I completely missed all these other things that Nick was saying. Why was I so fixated on this one thing? So, there could be some learning and growth from that.
So to know that you go through stuff that I wasn't able to help you through, that hurts me. I want to be there for you like you are me.
Oh, wow.
Because it means so much to me that you are there for me all the time.
Okay, good. That was a big turning point, and Danielle did a really good job expressing that she had time to reflect, and she realized that she doesn't want to make Nick feel upset, and that she wants to be there for him if he's going through some things, because he's always there for her. So I'm glad that she was able to be open and vulnerable and also express that. Maybe she also apologized for her part in the disagreement from the night before. Maybe they just didn't show it. I hope she did apologize, because that's also a key piece. It's not really fair for Nick to just be the one apologizing. It seems like she's also able to do some reflecting and realize how important Nick is to her, and for her to show him that she does care if he is going through some things. They were able to make up, smooth things over. There's some physical affection. There's some deeper understanding. My only concern is that she'll continue having these triggers that would lead into these fights. And although they may be able to make up in a really healthy way now, we can't say that would be the same down the road, especially if it's every other day or every other week where they just have these big blow-ups. It is quite constant, and nothing really gets changed or addressed, because again, the main thing that needs to change or be addressed is for her to heal from the past. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more analysis videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to check out my other therapist reviews videos, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, be kind and love yourself.